This Billing Bites video is going to be covering coordination of benefits and the birthday rule. Coordination of benefits is also known as COB, and this is a concept that comes into play when a patient has more than one insurance. You might have children who are covered under both mom and dad. You might have a married couple who both have insurance through their work, and so each person is covered on their spouse's policy as well as their own. Okay. So coordination of benefits is how these two insurances are going to work together or coordinate to pay the medical bill, which is the benefit. And they have to determine who is primary and who is secondary. So there's going to be an order. You bill this one first, and then anything the patient owes, you then can bill to the second, and maybe they'll pick up more. And what this concept does is prevents duplication of payment. The doctor should not be paid twice in full for the same procedure. Okay, if the procedure cost $100 and each insurance pays it, then the doctor just got paid $200. But the service isn't worth $200, it's only worth $100. The doctor should not be getting double paid. And so this coordination of benefits concept fixes that problem. Okay, so when you if you get a new job and you're getting insurance through that job, one of the questions on the form you will fill out is, are you covered under any other health insurance plan? If so, who is it? And then they need to figure it out between them. Well, there are some rules that they will use in who becomes primary and who comes secondary. So the first example we're going to use is when you have a married couple and the husband is covered under Blue Cross and the wife is covered under Cigna. Okay, and the husband is also on the Cigna and the wife is also on the Blue Cross. So how do we determine who's primary and who is secondary? And this is the most common rule for adults. Your own insurance is primary. Your spouse, secondary. I ran out of letters there. I can't finish my word. Okay? So if the wife is my patient, I'm going to bill Cigna as primary and Blue Cross secondary. If the husband is my patient, I'm going to bill Blue Cross primary and Cigna secondary. So it depends on who's my patient. They have the same two insurances, but the billing order will be different depending on who is my patient. Okay, so that is how we do it with the adults. Now, what about the children? Children do not have insurance in their own name. It's under mom and dad. So with children, we use the birthday rule. And the birthday rule says the parent whose birthday comes first is primary. And we care about whose is first in the year. We do not care what year they were born. We do not care which parent is older. So dad was born in January. Mom was born in July. Dad's will be primary because his birthday comes first in the calendar year, and mom's will be secondary. Okay. So there are some times where divorce agreements will state whose is primary that change this birthday rule, things like that. There are some exceptions. I personally had an exception in my life where mom and dad didn't carry the insurance. Stepmom and stepdad both carried the insurances. So I actually had a challenge with one of my insurances for my kids where they said they wanted to use the birthday rule, and I said, of who? Bio parents or step parents? Because the step parents carry the insurance, the bio parents do not. And it actually had to go into investigation to determine the answer to that question, because the person I had on the phone had no clue outside of the birthday rule. They didn't know what to say after that. And it did come back that it was bio parents, even though we were not the contract holders on the insurance. So that was interesting to me that that they were doing it that way, but it worked. So that is how coordination of benefits works, and that is how the birthday rule works. Every now and then a student will ask me, what happens if mom and dad have the same birthday? It can happen. What happens when the birthday rule is trying to be applied and mom and dad have the same birthday? What happens then is we then go to which policy has been in effect the longest. So if one parent started working at their job 5 years ago and the other one was 2 years ago, the 5-year one wins. They become primary. Okay, so they'll use length of policy. I have also had a case in my office where I had an adult person have 2 insurances, both in their own name. One was from a retired job, and the other one was from their current job. So I had a person, she worked 20 years as a school teacher and retired, so she had retired teachers, but she was in her 40s. Like, she still had a lot of work years ahead of her, so she started working at General Motors. Clearly she didn't like teaching because she retired very young. And so then she had insurance through General Motors, and it was her current employer. And the rule for that one was current employer, then retired employer. So you will see some weird cases where you have to do a little bit of digging to figure out primary, secondary. Fortunately, normally the insurances have already figured it out. So you just have to follow the rule they've already established. If you have 2 insurances arguing, I've had 2 insurances both try to tell me they were second. Neither one of them would say that they were first. And they both said they were second, and the other one was supposed to be first. And so they clearly did not agree. That's a patient problem. The patient has to figure that out. The patient's going to have to get on the phone with their 2 insurances and figure it out, probably through a conference call between the 3 of them. I can't fix that for a patient. I can help them. I can tell them what needs fixed. I've even been on the phone with the patient, with the insurance companies, and do a multi-line call like that before. I will certainly help in any way, but I cannot be the one who completely fixes the problem. The patient has to get involved, because if you have 2 insurances, both saying they are second, that means nobody's paying the bill. And guess who's going to get the bill? The patient. So they need to get involved in their own problem in getting it solved so that their bills can get paid.